In a dramatic escalation of the ongoing conflict, Ukrainian forces have launched an incursion into Russian territory, striking deep within the Belgorod Oblast. This region, known for its strategic importance, has now become a focal point in the conflict. This audacious move marks a significant turning point in the war, showcasing Ukraine's willingness to take bold actions, challenging the Kremlin's narrative and raising the stakes for both sides. The Russian government, caught off guard, is now forced to reconsider its strategies. The world watches with bated breath as the situation unfolds, with global media providing round-the-clock coverage. The outcome of this incursion could have profound implications for the future of Ukraine, Russia, and the wider international order. International bodies like the United Nations and NATO are closely monitoring the developments. This incursion is not merely a symbolic act of defiance. It represents a calculated gamble by Kiev aimed at shifting the balance of power. It represents a calculated gamble by Kyiv aiming to disrupt Russian military operations, bolster Ukraine's negotiating position, and demonstrate the country's resolve in the face of aggression. Ukrainian forces are targeting key military installations and supply lines to weaken the Russian hold on the region. This bold move has sent shockwaves through the international community, forcing a reassessment of the conflict's trajectory and raising questions about the potential for further escalation. The Ukrainian government has stated that the incursion is a necessary response to Russia's continued aggression and its failure to engage in meaningful peace negotiations. They argue that by taking the fight to Russian soil, they are forcing the Kremlin to confront the true cost of its actions and increasing the pressure for a negotiated settlement. Analysts suggest that this move could either bring both sides to the negotiating table or push the conflict into a more dangerous phase. The Ukrainian government has stated that the incursion is a necessary response to Russia's continued aggression and its failure to engage in meaningful peace negotiations. They argue that by taking the fight to Russian soil, they are forcing the Kremlin to confront the true cost of its actions and increasing the pressure for a negotiated settlement. However, the incursion also carries significant risks, potentially provoking a harsh response from Moscow and further inflaming tensions. The Russian public, already weary from the prolonged conflict, may react unpredictably. However, the incursion also carries significant risks, potentially provoking a harsh response from Moscow and further inflaming tensions. The international community is on high alert, with diplomats working tirelessly to prevent a full-scale escalation. The world now waits to see how Russia will respond, and whether this bold move by Ukraine will lead to a breakthrough in the conflict or plunge the region into deeper turmoil. The stakes have never been higher, and the next few days will be crucial in determining the future course of this war. To understand the significance of Ukraine's incursion into Belgorod, it is essential to consider the broader context of the conflict. This conflict is not just a recent phenomenon, but has deep historical roots that have shaped the current geopolitical landscape. The roots of the war run deep, entangled in a complex web of historical grievances, geopolitical rivalries, and competing visions for the future of Eastern Europe. The region has long been a flashpoint for tensions, with various powers vying for control and influence over the centuries. For centuries, Ukraine has found itself caught between Russia and the West, a battleground for empires and a pawn in larger geopolitical games. This historical tug-of-war has left deep scars and a legacy of mistrust and conflict. The current conflict erupted in 2014 with Russia's annexation of Crimea and its support for separatists in eastern Ukraine. This bold move by Russia was a clear signal of its intentions to reassert its influence in the region. Since then, a low-intensity war has simmered in the Donbas region, claiming thousands of lives and displacing millions more. The human cost of this conflict has been staggering, with countless families torn apart and communities devastated. Despite international condemnation and sanctions, Russia has continued to fuel the conflict, providing military and financial support to the separatists while denying its direct involvement. This has created a complex and volatile situation on the ground. The situation took a dramatic turn in February 2022, when Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This marked a significant escalation in the conflict, bringing it to the forefront of international attention. The invasion, which Moscow euphemistically dubbed a special military operation, was met with widespread international condemnation and triggered a wave of unprecedented sanctions against Russia. These sanctions aimed to cripple Russia's economy and force a withdrawal. Despite initial expectations of a swift victory, Russian forces encountered fierce resistance from the Ukrainian military and civilian population. The resilience and determination of the Ukrainian people have been remarkable, turning the conflict into a protracted and bloody struggle. Ukraine's incursion into Belgorod is a high-stakes gamble with multiple strategic objectives. This bold move is not just a military maneuver, but a calculated effort to achieve several key goals that could significantly impact the ongoing conflict. Firstly, it aims to disrupt Russian military operations and supply lines in the region. By targeting these critical supply routes, Ukraine hopes to create logistical nightmares for the Russian forces, making it difficult for them to sustain their operations. By striking deep behind enemy lines, Ukrainian forces can target key infrastructure, command centers, and logistical hubs. This not only hampers the enemy's ability to coordinate and execute their plans, but also sends a strong message about Ukraine's reach and capabilities. Hampering Russia's ability to wage war in eastern Ukraine is a crucial objective. Disrupting transportation and communication lines can slow down reinforcements and resupply efforts, giving Ukrainian forces a tactical advantage. This disruption could buy valuable time for Ukrainian forces defending against Russian offensives elsewhere. By forcing Russia to divert resources to address the incursion, Ukraine can strengthen its defensive positions in other critical areas, and potentially tip the balance of power on the battlefield. A successful incursion can boost the morale of Ukrainian troops and provide a psychological edge in the ongoing conflict. Secondly, the incursion serves as a powerful propaganda victory for Ukraine. Demonstrating its ability to take the fight to the enemy, Ukraine can showcase its resilience and determination to both domestic and international audiences. Demonstrating its ability to take the fight to the enemy, Ukraine can showcase its resilience and determination to both domestic and international audiences. This can help garner more support and solidarity from allies, and undermining Russia's narrative of military superiority. By exposing vulnerabilities in Russian defenses, Ukraine can challenge the perception of Russian invincibility and shake the confidence of Russian forces. By showcasing the vulnerability of Russian territory, the incursion aims to boost morale among Ukrainian troops and civilians. This show of strength can inspire greater resistance and unity within Ukraine. While sowing doubt and discontent within Russia itself, the incursion can create internal pressure on the Russian government, as citizens question the effectiveness of their military and leadership. Thirdly, the incursion could strengthen Ukraine's position in any future peace negotiations. By demonstrating their resolve and ability to inflict damage on Russian soil, Ukrainian negotiators may be able to extract concessions from a weakened and increasingly isolated Kremlin. By demonstrating their resolve and ability to inflict damage on Russian soil, Ukrainian negotiators may be able to extract concessions from a weakened and increasingly isolated Kremlin. This could lead to more favorable terms for Ukraine in any potential peace talks. However, this strategy is not without risks. The incursion could provoke a strong retaliatory response from Russia, escalating the conflict further, as it could also embolden hardliners within Russia. These factions may push for more aggressive actions, making a peaceful resolution more difficult to achieve, and make a negotiated settlement more elusive. The balance between achieving strategic objectives and avoiding further escalation is delicate, and the outcome of this incursion will be closely watched by both sides. The Belgorod incursion began with a series of lightning raids by Ukrainian forces, who exploited gaps in Russian defenses and quickly established a presence within Russian territory. Utilizing a combination of light infantry, special forces and armored vehicles, Ukrainian units targeted key infrastructure including command posts, ammunition depots and fuel storage facilities. These attacks, often carried out with surgical precision, aimed to cripple Russia's ability to sustain its military operations in the region. As Ukrainian forces advanced, they encountered fierce resistance from Russian troops and pro-Russian separatists. Heavy fighting was reported in and around several villages near the border, with both sides deploying artillery, tanks, and attack helicopters. Despite the intensity of the fighting, Ukrainian forces managed to make significant gains, capturing several settlements and inflicting heavy casualties on the enemy. The Ukrainian incursion has been characterized by its fluidity and adaptability, with small, highly mobile units operating behind enemy lines and relying on speed, surprise, and local knowledge to outmaneuver their opponents. This unconventional warfare strategy has proven highly effective against Russia's more rigid and centralized military doctrine, exposing vulnerabilities in its defenses and disrupting its operational tempo. The bear, once mighty and feared, now stumbles under the weight of its own pressures. The once confident strides have turned into hesitant steps, each one more uncertain than the last. It's a stark contrast to the powerful image it once projected, now overshadowed by the looming challenges. The bear's struggle is evident, a symbol of how even the mightiest can falter when the pressure becomes too great. The Belgorod incursion has sent ripples through the international community. Nations around the world are now reassessing their security policies and alliances. The geopolitical landscape is shifting, and the ramifications are yet to be fully understood. How will global powers respond? Only time will tell. As we look to the future, the Belgorod incursion raises critical questions about the prospects for peace. Can diplomatic efforts overcome the tensions that have surfaced? Or are we on the brink of further conflict? The path ahead is uncertain, and the stakes have never been higher. In the wake of the incursion, navigating the new landscape will be a challenge for all involved. Governments, organizations, and individuals must adapt to the changes and find ways to move forward. Cooperation and resilience will be key in overcoming the obstacles that lie ahead. Reflecting on the Belgorod incursion, we are reminded of the fragility of peace and the complexities of international relations. The events have left an indelible mark on history, and the lessons learned will shape the future. As we move forward, it is crucial to remember the importance of dialogue, understanding, and cooperation.